blues music in the background? Hear it?
Yes, sir. Yep.
That's wild. Just walking onto the property and hear blues if you listen closely. What's going on, everybody? How you doing today? Here I'm at Dockery Farms in Cleveland, Mississippi. Not Cleveland, Ohio, Cleveland, Mississippi. To paraphrase B.B. King, it doesn't get more south than this. And it's very, very true. We are in the south, and I say we because I'm here with Big Bake on the Move, my friend Randy. You've seen him on my channel before. Randy, where are we?
We are in Dockery Farms, the heart of the South, man, the birthplace of the blues, on the blues trail.
Right here.
Right.
So the focus of our video is going to be Robert Johnson and his deal with the devil. I'm going to show you lots of stuff how to deal with Robert Johnson. We thought we'd start off here at Dockery Farms. One of the Crossroads is just right up the street here. Tell you the story. Take a look around this place, and it's crazy. So what were you telling me about this fountain here on this property?
So I was here previously, and the current, I guess the manager of the land, or the current guy who runs the place, he was telling me that this big fountain here was actually used to feed all the animals on the farm, and unfortunately that was the Dockery community, that was their watering hole. That's where they got their water from also. That's how Old Man Dockery had it set up.
Wow. So we're gonna go back here and show you the sign that's here. On the Mississippi Blues Trail, birthplace of the blues. The precise origins of the blues are lost to time, but one of the primal centers for the music in Mississippi was Dockery Farms. For nearly 3 decades, the plantation was intermittently the home of Charlie Patton, 1891 and 1934. The most important early Delta blues musician. Patton himself learned from fellow Dockery resident Henry Sloan and influenced many other musicians who came here, including Howlin' Wolf, Willie Brown, Tommy Johnson, and Roebuck Pops Staples. So this was like a little community. It had a store, it had a post office, its own currency.
Actually earned Dockery bucks. He paid him, and he had his own currency. They had their own school, their own farm, everything. It was a self-sustained community. And at the end of the week, Old Man Dockery didn't allow any music here on the plantation during the week. But at the end of the week, you could turn that way a little bit. There's a big creek right over there. There's a metal bridge that goes across that. And back over here in the back, over here, it's not there anymore, but you can see there was an old home place over there. And they would play music back over there during the weekend. And Old Man Dockery would charge the people a quarter to cross the bridge
to listen to the music. Huh.
And that's what the guy that was here that day told me, all that stuff.
You look over here, there's an old foundation. Randy was saying that's where the general store I showed you, the store used to be here, right?
Yep. Front porch is still here.
Wow. How long has this been here for? That's just nuts.
The walls.
Oh, the walls are still here too. Wow. Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. So we have to get away from the... Unfortunately, the music is a little too loud over there, and the wind's bad today too, but somebody's asked me recently about why I don't play the music of the artist I'm talking about. Well, it's copywritten, right, Randy?
That's right.
And to do these videos. Neither Randy or I are looking to get rich or famous by doing YouTube. We just want to, Randy's really talented at what he does, and we just want to tell stories and go places and put it out there. Yeah. But if we used, it would be a dream to have Robert Johnson's music right now playing throughout my video.
Yeah. And one of the biggest things about me and Scott both, we want to be here. We're not here for a dollar. We are both very intrigued in every story we do.
Yeah.
We've talked, you know, quite a bit about it, and every story we've done, we know tons of details on them. And it's not that we've researched this to promote this to make money. We already know a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's legit.
Yeah, every story, I always find every story I have there's a piece of me in it.
Yeah.
And every story I find fascinating. And then there's always a connection to my youth. There's always a connection to my childhood. I remember the first time I heard Robert Johnson. I remember listening to Robert Johnson on CD, and you hear the hiss of the recording, almost as loud as the music itself. But there's something amazing about that.
Yeah.
There's something about when it's not crystal clear, when it's, you know, it's fuzzy.
Yeah.
And
exactly. It's like a CD versus a record, you know.
Right, but even these, they're transferred from records, but they're old records, and they just got that hiss that comes on for like 2 seconds first. But we're going to talk about Robert Johnson, and Robert Johnson, one of the most famous bluesmen of all time.
Maybe the most, yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's definitely up there.
I believe I'll Dust Off My Broom, Sweet Home Chicago, Crossroads Blues. Yep. 29 songs, 2 albums, died at the age of 27. A member of what club?
27 Club. Kurt Cobain, Janis Joplin,
Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Amy Winehouse.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Some call him the founding father of the 27 Club.
Yeah.
So, this location has to do with Robert Johnson. Why?
Robert was here. Okay, so me and Scott have talked about this quite a bit. A lot of the Robert stories are, there's only a few witnesses to these things, but Robert was seen here. Robert was here. There is no questions about that. So that's what kind of brings us here. Also, the emphasis of this place being located so close to the Crossroads. One of the Crossroads, because there's several, and historians do believe this is the one, based on the time frame, based on witnesses that saw Robert leave this place, headed to the Crossroads, which is only about a half mile down the road.
Right.
We're going to take y'all there in just a moment. And so that's the main significant with Robert tied to here, is that we do know for a fact he was here, and the Crossroads is so close.
Right. And talk about his early life a little bit. Where was he born?
Robert was born in Hazlehurst, Mississippi.
Hazlehurst, Mississippi. Yeah. Do you think maybe I should insert a clip right now of when I went to Hazlehurst just recently?
Yeah. If you don't, it would surprise me.
Here it is. So you're looking at the Copiah County Courthouse right there. Right across the street is this Heritage House Cultural Center. So, some work is being done on it. And the house should be right behind this house. Robert Johnson's house. Should be here. I haven't seen it yet. I'm hoping it's here. There it is. I believe it's the one in back. Let's go. Now, it was originally where Interstate 55 is. That was called Damascus Road, I believe. Then it was moved to Miller Road. And then the county bought it and placed it here. This is the house right here. Wow. Not sure what this, but I guess this is just a small building that was on the same property at the time. They don't really have it set up for much. I don't think you can go inside either. Very cool though. Oh wow. There's the inside there. Look at that. It's just one room. He was born in 1911. So, well, there's a bit of a, well, you can go upstairs. It's a bit of an attic. It's just one room. No, there's no way to get in there. So, this building here, let's take a look. The door's open. I don't think I need to knock. Huh. It's another small little building. Thinking maybe this was the outhouse, but it's pretty big to be an outhouse. Ooh, boy. Wow. But there it is. There's Robert Johnson's boyhood home. This was on the outskirts of Hazlehurst, which when they say outskirts, I mean it was a 2-minute drive from the interstate where his house would have used to be. So not too far outside of town, but that's it. It is part of the famous Mississippi Blues Trail, where they have all the plaques up for, you can stop at various locations. And I believe they have plans to not necessarily restore it, but with this, the construction of this building, I'm assuming they're going to put more things around it, make it more of an attraction. But that's it. All right, back to where, oh look here. There you go. Wild. Just off of Downing Street here. Okay, yeah. Back to me and Randy over at Dockery Farms. So that's where Robert was born. So then he was here. Mm-hmm. And why was he here at these farms?
I don't think it was for a very long time. Lots of other blues musicians were here. And, you know, Robert wasn't a very good guitarist at this time. Matter of fact, they say he was downright bad. People would run Robert off the stage. When these guys would get to playing, they'd take breaks, just like musicians do today. And Robert would take that chance to get up there and grab one of their instruments and play. And there's, once again, actual real-life accounts where people have said, you know, Robert, you know, get off the stage, or they'd call the musician back and say, y'all need to get up there and get back playing. So Robert gets off that stage, we're tired of hearing it, it's hurting our ears.
Right.
You know, so then, of course, Robert leaves here, goes to the Crossroads. He's not seen for a year to a year and a half later. No one really knows the exact time.
Turns up in Banks, Mississippi.
Banks, Mississippi. He walks into a juke joint one night. And I'm not exactly familiar with the blues person that saw him come in, but there's actual voice coverage out there where you can hear him tell the story of Robert walking in with a guitar on his back. And they
Seven strings.
7 string. He put a 7th string on a 6-string guitar. And they said, why's he got that guitar for? Like he's going to play something.
Yeah.
And Robert basically encouraged him to let him sit down and have a set. And man, he lit it up.
Yep.
And you know, so back then, just a little bit of backstory on the whole devil conspiracy with Robert. Back then, on Sundays, the women folk went to church, and a lot of the men folk around here went to these juke joints. They wake up on Sunday morning, they torn up from the juke joints. Well, the preacher man wasn't making no money. The juke joints was making lots of money, okay? So of course the preacher man's telling the women folk, hey, this is the devil's music. That's all the devil stuff. So when something bad happened, it was always the devil. Everything was. So when Robert came back and mysteriously learned how to play this music, it could only be the devil, because it was the devil's music. It was the blues.
Right.
So that's kind of how that whole thing. And to me, the whole mystery of Robert selling his soul to the devil, it's kind of how the folklore kind of started circling that.
Right. Because I mean, there's Crossroads having to do with other musicians and other art forms. There's one Crossroads in Africa.
Exactly.
Greece.
Yep.
But we do know pretty much that he learned how to play guitar from Ike Zimmerman.
Yep.
And before you say it, should I go and show where they taught each other?
I think you should.
Well, Ike Zimmerman taught him,
yeah.
I should say.
He moved back to Hazlehurst, and he spent about a year there.
Yeah.
And
And that's actually how he learned to play the guitar.
that was the true story that came from some of his family. It's on video, documented. You can go back and watch those interviews, and that's the true story of what happened with him. He went back to Hazlehurst.
It's not as out there and crazy as the deal with the devil, but here's where he learned to play guitar really. So I made it to Beauregard, Mississippi. This is a very, very small town. And this is Beauregard Cemetery right here. Now, so when Robert Johnson came down here, this is not too far from his childhood home. It's about a 15-minute drive. He was learning from Ike Zimmerman. And I've read Zinnerman, but it's Zimmerman. And his house, Ike's house, was not too far from here. Robert was living with his family, with Ike's family. It's not too far from here. And so at night they would come here to this cemetery and practice. Now there's a few other cemeteries around here, but this is known as the one that they would come to, based on eyewitnesses back in the day and people who heard them playing. To get here, because his house was a little further away, they had to walk down a dusty trail through a forest, over a crossroads to the cemetery. Now, one thing I'm thinking is, that's another part of the myth, right? Another part of the legend. One of his most famous songs was Crossroad Blues. Probably was singing about that. That crossroads, I think. Ike's family says that he probably wrote a couple of Robert Johnson songs and may have co-written a couple of other ones. You know, they were sitting here practicing, he was learning from them, they were playing, they were jamming, so, you know, they probably said, here's a song, maybe one or two. They played. This is a very old cemetery. There's some newer graves, but back in the South, in those days, cemeteries were looked upon as scary places. For some people, they still are. And that's another part of the myth too. So he was coming here, they were worshiping the devil, you know, and playing the devil's music. So I lost my train of thought as I was looking at these graves. They're crazy. Yeah, so it's another part of it. But the main reason probably why they play here is because these houses here wouldn't have been here back in the day. There'd be nothing around. And apparently, one thing that Ike's family said was they came and played here because they didn't want to disturb the family with their loud playing. And apparently they would sit on some headstones across from each other, and that's where they played. They had two side-by-side ones that they sat on and played, jamming on some headstones. And I think it's the ones over here in the corner, because the older section is down over here. We're looking at 1900s. People died in 1908, 1910 I was looking at. And right over here beside a grave, we're going to have to get there. There is a plot of land with two benches facing each other. And they look like they've been here a long time. And it would be the perfect place to sit and jam with your friend and learn side by side, well, across from each other, I should say. Take a look at this. Wow, that is pretty incredible. Ike is not buried here. I wasn't sure where Ike was buried. I think it might be out in California, because I know he moved to Compton, California at one point and lived out the rest of his life there, I think as a preacher. But this grave right here, 1900. Right there. Rest in peace. Some nice flowers there for him. But if you look here, I mean, doesn't this look like the perfect place? Sit and jam right there. So this is a cemetery where Robert Johnson learned to play. I mean, you believe he sold his soul to the devil, and that's how he learned. That's possible. It's also probably more than possible that his good buddy Ike taught him right here. Did I ever mention that Robert Johnson was a great harmonica player? He was. Back to me and Randy at Dockery Farms. So that was that cemetery, learning to play guitar in a cemetery from his mentor, Ike Zimmerman.
Yep.
So, but it's more interesting that it's the Crossroads, right? Yep. And there are two that we know of Crossroads here in this area.
Yep.
And
one's Clarksdale.
Clarksdale. Should we go there right now, snap our fingers magically, and show us in Clarksdale?
Let's do it.
It reads, you are at the legendary Crossroads, Highway 4961, Abe's Barbecue since 1924. There it is right there. Abe's Barbecue. Where legend has it, Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil so he could play a hell of a blues guitar, and Abe Davis was across the street, surrendering his soul to Jesus for the recipe of his now famous barbecue sauce. Clarksdale has always been known for the blues and the good news. And here we are. All right, Randy, so here we are. Highway 4961 in Clarksdale, Mississippi. Are these the real Crossroads?
No one knows, man. There's so much suspicion around this that all you can do is just visit everything and know that you covered it. That's
right.
all you can do, I mean.
Now, he did spend some time in Clarksdale, right?
Yes, sir, he did.
He did. But back then you were saying this intersection wasn't
even here. This intersection wasn't even here. The intersection that everyone claims, if you start looking into this, like I say, you find so many false claims, so much different stuff. This intersection was not here. I believe just about 2 blocks behind us over here, that was the main highway then that came up north and south.
Yeah. But they certainly do promote it here.
Yeah.
It's a real rhythm and blues town. I mean, that's for sure.
Oh man, yeah.
All right, so we're here at Clarksdale, but we're not done. So many other places. Let's go. Quiet down. Right?
That's it. Too much noise, man.
Too much. Get a muffler. Was that a motorcycle?
No, that was a...
then get a muffler.
G-body, man. Square body.
I have no idea what that means. That's
85 Cutlass, man.
85
see
Cutlass? Make
yeah,
that noise?
see right there? Right where my finger is on the screen?
Oh,
right there? That's it right there.
Oh, that's a pretty cool car. That's a pretty cool car, actually.
Yep.
But still, come on. And we're back. That's where they really promote the Crossroads, because it gives something for the town, you know, and people go there to see the Crossroads, see the guitar, see Abe's Barbecue, that sort of thing. The real Crossroads are right up here. We'll walk through this farm a little bit, and we're going to go to the other Crossroads, or the real Crossroads. Meet me at the Crossroads.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Let's go. Egg salad, gonna miss your body and your Uncle Charlie. Oh, my Uncle Bobby. Isn't that what they say?
Yes.
Egg salad, gonna miss your body.
Oh, man.
As we're walking out, we should mention, right, that although the African Americans that came to this plantation were free to come and go, being paid in essentially tokens that they made themselves here,
Yep.
that was were not able to be spent anywhere else. It's kind of questionable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's one of those things that, you know, it's a gray area. You know, it's been a long time, and history gets, you know, fuzzy over time.
Right.
And, you know, you can't say 100% definitively that the people aren't slaves, because there's nothing else around here.
Yeah.
You know, it was an opportunist. Yeah, he took
advantage of
the situation, and he benefited from it.
Right.
And
he got a lot of work done very cheap.
Very cheap. And then he not only made money off the labor and the product, he made money off the goods he sold.
Right.
Made money off of everything. Was, you know, it's like a monopoly.
Right. They're spending the money right here on the property that goes right to his pocket.
Exactly.
I mean, the tokens are worthless, but that's what he's paying them in.
Yeah. So it's hard to say that we were discussing it a little bit. It's hard to say they weren't slaves because they didn't have an option.
Right. I mean, slavery by this point was abolished.
Yeah.
But that's not to disrespect you or the South, because you're from around here.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, it took a while for the South to catch up.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah. Yeah.
You know. But this is part of the Robert Johnson story, which is more what we're covering. And we're going to drive right up that road right now and show you the Crossroads. Some heavy stuff involved with this story, just because it goes beyond Robert Johnson. It goes beyond just to deal with the devil and just, you know, the fun, crazy story when you get into the background and the people that were living here and probably the conditions they lived under were not the greatest.
Yeah, and you come out here and you drive around, and me and Scott have been driving through these dirt fields for the last 2 days, and you think about 28,000 acres, and all you have is animals and ropes to work it. You don't have a lot of machinery.
No.
It's just look at these fields and the size of them, man. It's almost unbelievable that a human could even work it.
Right. Yeah. What's this? Oh, this is a church. Oh,
It's
yeah.
a current church.
Current church. Okay. Let's go. Now, Randy, we have not yet made to the Crossroads. They're which way?
Crossroads are right up there, about 200 yards.
Right.
Yeah.
But we're at a cemetery that's right on the side of the road.
Yep.
And what's interesting about this cemetery, it's not where one of 3 suspected Robert Johnson graves are. There's 3
Yep.
that the people believe in. But this cemetery,
Yep.
tell me about it.
So in the folklore of Robert Johnson, he walks down the crossroads and makes a deal with the devil at the end, which we're going to show you in a minute. But on the way to the crossroads, this particular crossroads, there's a little cemetery here on the side. Go back and listen to some of Robert's songs after when he recorded those 29 songs and he was famous. There's lots of lyrics in those songs about sitting at a graveyard practicing with the devil.
Right.
And it references graveyards quite a bit, him sitting in graveyards. So who's to say this isn't the graveyard?
Well, no, I think what actually happened is people heard those lyrics and assumed this was the graveyard.
Yeah, exactly.
When it actually was the one down in Hazlehurst.
Hazlehurst, yeah.
Is what he was referencing.
Yep. But it's just another piece of the folklore.
Yeah.
You know, it's suspicion. I mean, I don't think anybody knows the whole story 100%, but this is, you know, it's a piece of it.
And the longer time goes on, the
Further things.
Right.
That's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
We have to document things and try to preserve history as best we can.
And you just said something interesting while we were setting up to shoot. Here comes a car along. Like, we're standing here just, you know, with our cars, you know, driving through,
Yeah.
doing our thing, but 75 years ago.
$3 bottles of water, 65-degree air conditions. Just 75 years ago. Think about the conditions the people out here were going through.
Yeah.
Very short time.
And some of the violence and some of the things that occurred, I mean, we're close to Emmett Till territory.
Yeah, we're not far.
We're not far.
30 minutes of
Money,
this Delta,
Mississippi, and
this
yeah.
everything.
Tiny cemetery spread way out. For a cemetery, it's got a lot of no trespassing signs. Did you notice them?
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, one there,
Oh, wow.
one here. It's interesting to see. There's all the way back there, yeah. They're just really spread out.
Yeah, it is.
But there's who's to say there's not
Oh, I'm sure there's people buried
50
all
graves.
in here.
Yeah, 50 graves right in front of us. Probably confirmed, none of which are Robert Johnson, because they've kind of narrowed it down to 3. But
Yeah.
we'll be going to the most likely one.
Yeah, Mount Zion is the one in history kind of, even on his birth certificate, Mount Zion is, or
Right.
death certificate.
But there are 2 Mount Zions within 40 minutes of each other.
There are that. Yep.
All right, let's go to the Crossroads. Here we are. We made it. If you look right down the street, that's Dockery Farms. You can just see the cars going through, just briefly. And the cemetery's on that side. But these are the Crossroads. These are apparently the real Crossroads that people refer to. So here we are. You see the sign says Robert Johnson right there at the top. And this is where he's laid to rest. Right here at Little Zion Church. Look at that. This is it for the cemetery. It's very small. Now, I'm not going to read all of it, but it's got stuff like Ike Zimmerman. I was saying Zimmerman. We talked before about the concert at Carnegie Hall. Somebody wanted him to play there, right?
Yeah, somebody actually was trying to recruit him to come to Carnegie Hall. They sent a recruiter down here, and they found out that Robert had just passed away 6 months before that. And they went ahead at the performance, and what was the name of the...
Carnegie Hall?
No, the name of the actual record player.
Oh, like a Victorola.
Yeah, Victorola. They played his record at Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
And the crowd went wild. They put a spotlight on on the record player there, and they went nuts over it.
So we're going to talk about his death, but it was allegedly occurred behind the Three Forks store at a juke joint near the intersection of U.S. Highways 82 and 49 East. Played in Canada, Chicago, Detroit, New York, Memphis, St. Louis. Never settled in one place, although he did have a home in Helena, Arkansas. Now, it says age 26, but he was 27, correct?
Yep.
And then I believe it's going to say cause of death, no doctor. It should say, there it is. Cause of death, no doctor. There he is. And in lyrics from Me and the Devil Blues, you may bury my body down by the highway side. Baby, I don't care where you bury my body when I'm dead and gone. So my old evil spirit can catch a Greyhound bus and ride. So we're going to talk about his death as we walk over to his grave. I just want to say, like, if you want to listen to some Robert Johnson, lots of different compilations. And if you listen to a song called They're Red Hot, if that song doesn't put a smile on your face listening to it, it is so catchy and such a good song. I highly recommend maybe start with that song, then go to Crossroads Blues and just work your way through his catalog. It's not big, it's not lengthy, but it's great. So we know where we're going. I mean, under the tree, right?
Yeah, I actually have been here before personally.
Yeah.
And last time I was here, there was a limb laying over the grave, and you couldn't really even see it, but they've since cleaned that up.
Let's clarify by the tree limb.
Do what?
Tree limb.
What did I say? I'm sorry.
You said a limb. Might want to clarify where where we are.
Yeah. You want me to do that part again, or kind
No,
of?
no, no. Keep it in. We're gonna keep it in. Don't worry. It's just you know.
But yeah, there was a tree limb laying over his grave last time I was here, and I couldn't actually see the grave very well at all. There also was a acoustic guitar laid up next to the tree.
Wow.
And
look to your right. Look at the. I mean, there's people being still buried out here, very recently. Yep. 1, 2, 3. So it's an active cemetery. It's not abandoned or anything.
Yep. And
its most famous resident is right here. What can you tell me about his death? Because it's quite a story.
Yeah. So you know, Robert was a little bit flamboyant. He liked to show off a lot. He liked to impress the ladies. And people that were there when he passed away, they've given statements, and they said Robert loved his whiskey and his women. Mm-hmm. And on this night, he got a little bit out of sorts, and he basically was flirting with a woman that he knew and everybody knew was already kind of spoken for.
Well, I heard she was married.
Was she married? Okay.
I'm not sure. You're right.
Yeah,
you know, I've
I
heard
did not
both.
know that.
Yeah.
But a strange gentleman that they didn't know walked up and offered Robert a bottle of whiskey, and the bottle had already been opened.
Right.
And one of his friends smacked the bottle out of his hands, and he told Robert, he said, "You never take whiskey from somebody who's already got an open label on it." Mm. And Robert replied to him, "You better never smack a $7 bottle of whiskey out of my hand next time either." Mm. So Robert went ahead and drank the whiskey, and just a few hours later, he was sitting in the chair throwing up. And I think about 2 or 3 days later, it was slow, painful death.
Right.
But he did pass away that night, and I think on the back of the stone here, there's actually a inscription written where it talks about the lady whose husband dug this hole at this tree. I think it's on there.
Okay. Yeah, because I've heard, I mean, they tried to say it was syphilis, but he showed no signs of syphilis at all. Yeah. But the story, which of course, like a lot of Robert Johnson, it goes into folklore and legend, but that he was poisoned by the angry husband of a woman he was having an affair with. Yeah, is the basic story. But
and you know, and don't forget the devil killed him, because there's always that, because you know,
exactly
doing the devil's music.
And look at all the whiskey out here. Sun's coming right down on as we got here. Wow. Robert L. Johnson, May 8th, 1911 to August 16th, 1938. So he did live to 27. Musician and composer, he influenced millions beyond his time. Jesus of Nazareth, King of Jerusalem, I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he will call me from the grave. Handwritten by Robert Johnson shortly before his death, and preserved among family papers by his sister Carrie H. Thompson. So that's his actual handwriting. Yep. Wow. What kind of tree is this?
It's a pecan tree.
Pecan tree, right? That's
it. Is a pecan tree.
Yeah. And let's see what it says around back. When I leave this town, I'm on bid you farewell. And when I return again, you'll have a great long story to tell. From For Until Late by Robert Johnson. This memorial marker is placed at the base of this old pecan tree, as was Robert Johnson himself prior to his burial nearby, in accordance with the account of eyewitness Mrs. Rose Eskridge, as told to historian Stephen C. Lavier. So, not only are there 3 graves that people say he's buried at 3 different cemeteries, another Zion, and another cemetery where there's a cenotaph for him, with just a marker. The other one has an actual headstone. This headstone doesn't even actually mark the exact spot where he is.
No, just below the tree. I
mean, it could be anywhere.
Yep.
You don't see that too. I've never seen that before. It says placed at the base of the tree, prior to his burial nearby. Yep. What were you going to say before I interrupted?
Well, they have technology now. I mean, as big as this is, you know, they can come out here and scan the ground.
Oh, for sure.
Kind of crazy. They could find a remains here somewhere. You know?
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, it's definitely doable.
I mean, I'm surprised. I'm kind of surprised that hasn't happened where they put it to rest where he actually is.
But you know, the thing about it is that there's so much tourism. Thinking about Clarksdale,
Right.
there's so much tourism that's created by this. If you ever were to lock in these locations, you might kill a bunch of that. So
Yeah.
the folklore and the legend creates hype, keeps it going, man. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's one way of looking at it, you know.
Not too many people go to the other graves,
No.
but
Yeah, this is historically, everyone considers this to be the grave. I mean,
yeah. So it looks like here there used to be some sort of
possible monument, maybe.
something was here.
there.
Some markers and stuff. Brought something to leave here. Big rock for Robert. And you can see here, it's a lot of whiskey. Fireball even. A lot of bourbon, Little Jack, is that a little Jack there? Yeah, a little Jack Daniels. Guitar picks.
So I actually came out here. My dad passed away a couple years ago, and one of the first movies I remember growing up was the Steve Vai, Ralph Macchio,
Of course.
Crossroads.
Yeah.
And my dad passed away, and I came out here after he passed away and put one of his actual played guitar picks. You could tell it was being used quite a bit.
By your father?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I put it on this grave. So
Oh,
it's
nice.
somewhere probably here, still laying around.
Yep.
But yeah,
Is that a river back there?
it is.
Let's take a look over there while we're here. Show people the beauty of this area. I think we've covered, I don't even know if we can get over there. We've had enough dealings with bugs and snakes out in these areas. Look at the graves all off to the
back to the
side.
woods.
One there, one there. Oh, I think we can get right up on this embankment here. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, there it is. Is that the Tallahatchie? Don't do that.
That's the Tallahatchie, that is.
Yeah, it's the Tallahatchie River.
Little Tallahatchie, they call it.
Looks even like there's something here. Hard to tell what.
Foot marker, possibly.
Yeah.
I got to keep moving. I got to keep moving. Blues falling down like hail. Blues falling down.
All right. This is Randy. Big Bake on the Move. This was it. Robert Johnson. Something story we both wanted to do, and now
Bucket
we've done
list,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. This is an area I want to come back to all the time now. Mississippi. I've been to Mississippi before, but it's hard to explain what it's like down here.
You know, when you drive through here, you'll see what I mean. There's nothing out here. You'll drive through dirt fields or dirt roads and pastures for 5 miles before you ever see a house sometimes. But yet this place makes you want to come back to it.
Yeah.
So there's an allure here.
Yeah, it's the deep south. I mean, both our cars are covered with dirt and mud from all the dirt roads, but it's worth it. I mean, it's wild. Yeah, I want to come back here.
Yeah.
It will be. All right, man.
Yes, sir.
Rest in peace, Robert
you, bud.
Johnson. And to all of you, peace.